Welcome to another episode of Just Be Handy. It's November and close to Thanksgiving, so I'm going to be putting on some snow tires, and I want to show you all the tools that I use to put on my own snow tires and get the Subaru Outback 2017 programmed with the sensors for the snow tires here. So one of the other things I'll be doing is giving you a 5,000 mile update on those Michelins that some of you are liking and some of you are not liking. Show you what the wear is like on them after 5,000 miles. And then talk about these Blizzaks and how snow tires are different than regular all seasons. These rims also require special lug nuts, and also the use of this Autel TS508, and how you can probably get one for free if you do what I did, or you can buy them from somebody who already sold the sensors. So the way you get them for free is you buy them with the sensors and then sell the sensors on eBay, and you can program the sensors for the people that are buying the sensors from you, or just sell them as unprogrammed tire TPMS sensors. So what you'll need is a good tire gauge. This one also has a depth gauge, a good torque wrench, 19mm socket to get the lug nuts off of the OE wheels. I always recommend having an air chuck and a good impact to get the lug nuts off. If you don't have one, then just go about it the old-fashioned way. Again, it'll have a 19mm socket on it for that. And let's get started. So first I'm going to remove the OE wheel and then compare the Michelins that I got on there with 5,000 miles to the Blizzaks. Alright guys, I got the Michelin Premier LTX tire off. Again, this has 5,000 miles on it. Brand new. These tires have 8.5 30 seconds or 9 30 seconds brand new. So I'm going to check it with my depth gauge here. Oh, sorry, zeroed. And then it should be somewhere around that 7 range, which it is. Sorry, it's upside down, but 7:30 seconds is about right for wear on 5,000 miles towards the 50,000 miles that these tires are rated, between 50 and 60,000. So the wear is looking good on them. Again, just get in alignment when you get these tires. Certain vehicles are better for wear on these. And then now I'm going to look at why it's better to switch to snow tires versus an all-season tire. Now this has mud and snow capability, but again, it's more for me with the way that they don't plow and they don't salt around here. It's better for me to use snow tires, and we'll go into that next. Okay, so we have that Michelin here on the left and the Blizzak on the right. You can see all the little sipes and directions for snow, and not only that, but the rubber is so soft that if you drive these tires above 50-degree temperatures, they start to melt, where these don't melt as bad. Now this is a very soft compound. Again, I went with them because they are a soft compound, better grip. Not worried about mileage. That's why they're like a 50 to 60,000 mile tire. This one has got a couple of seasons on it, but because I don't drive it, I don't keep them on after temps go above 50, it's lasted me 3 seasons and it still looks fairly good. Another thing to look at with these to tell how the wear is, you can see the wear bars in here. Like once you get down to that wear bar, that's the time to change them. And as you can see, these still have a long way to go. So I'm fortunate enough that my wife doesn't drive more than 10,000 miles a year, so my rotating these every 5,000 miles, 6,000 miles works out just fine. And as you can see, the stark difference between the look of the snow tire versus the regular OE. Unfortunately, I did not get the sensors cloned where I could just change them without having to go to have them redo them. But I think with my tool that I got, it should be okay. All right, we'll get the rear swapped out and then do the sensor update. One more thing to consider, since the lug nuts are different for these rims than they are for the OE rims, it's good to keep a set of 5 in with you in case you get a flat tire when you have the snow tires on, and then you need to use the regular kit that comes with the car for changing out the spare tire. Even the guys that come to help you out, let's say AAA or whatever, they'd appreciate it if you had an extra set of lug nuts and this tool. Put them in the bag, put them in your glove box, and you have them when you need them. All right, just always make sure you have that, especially if you need a service. The mechanics might need to use your tool to get these lug nuts off. All right, make sure you have it in your glove box. All right, guys, the next thing to do is to torque all your lug nuts. You could see here, you can use either a 21 or 19 millimeter socket with this tool. They have it made for universal. So you could put it on, get your torque wrench set, and then torque them down to the recommended torque. Another thing I do is, because last year I did put where the tire rotations are, these are unidirectional, and you can tell that by an arrow on the outside of the tire usually. There we go, rotation this way for forward. And you can only go rears to fronts and fronts to rears on unidirectionals. But if it's a non-directional tire, usually what you do, and check your manual, you take the front, put it to the rear, and then take the rears and flip sides so that you get good even wear on the tires every 5,000-6,000 miles. So I always do that with chalk to remind me where they're going to go the following year. Again, also to check and see how much tread life you have left, you look for these little arrows that tell you to look for where the wear bars are on the tire. So then you go in and you look for that. Those little tips there hopefully are helpful to you. I'm going to finish torquing all these, and then we're going to set the TPMS sensors for the vehicle next. All right. Next thing to do is to check your door for the proper tire pressures. So look in your door and you'll usually have the tire pressures listed right there. I usually like to make the lowest one 35 because of winter temperatures dropping and fluctuating, and then bumping up the top number, the other number, to 2 psi difference. So 37 in the front and 35 in the rear of this Subaru gets you a little bit better fuel economy, and you don't have to worry about tire lights coming on when it's like 10 below or something like that. You'll have enough air in there to not have that light come on, but you should always check them on a weekly basis regardless. So let's recap. I've torqued all the lug nuts. After installing them, I've put the proper amount of air pressure in the tires. And if you want to bump it up 2 psi for this Subaru, so it's 35 in the rear, 37 in the front, that's okay to do, because you might run into temperatures that get below that. And then also, it's not a bad idea to make sure your spare tire has the proper air pressure. That's a 60 psi on this vehicle. Now you'll be able to do the syncing in of the sensors on the snow tires to the computer. But first, mark the tires as to where they should be rotated to, and then move them far enough away from the car so that they're not registering or interfering. So usually I like to just put these away, and that's what I'm going to do next before I start using the tool to read the sensors and then get the computer up to date. Okay, this is the Autel tool that we'll be using. It is the TS508. And I don't know if you guys can see that screen very well. Here we go. So what you want is the advanced mode when you are trying to sync in the sensors. And then we need to choose the Subaru. And then the Outback. And this is a 2017, so that would be set number 2. And we want to do position relearn is actually what we want. So we're going to do a yes on that. And then we will do an OBDII relearn. So we'll hit yes. And then it tells you what to do. So position, okay, and then set vehicle in park, and pull the handbrake properly, install, which we did all that, okay, and then everything's been standing for a while, and then we have to go drive it for above 20 miles an hour for a while till the light goes off. And let's get going. So now it wants me to get the first sensor reading on the driver's side front. So we hit this button here, and it's triggered. So now I've got to go to the passenger side front, which is right here. See what it reads, 35.7, so we know that they're both the same. Then the rear passenger, because it asks for 32 and it shows 33.2. And now the last one. There we go. Now it says, please connect to the OBDII and turn ignition on. So I'm going, there's the OBDII wire that came with this. I'm going to hook it on and then turn on the ignition. Okay, so now I'm going to turn on the ignition. I've got the OBDII hooked up. Then Y to continue. Communicating with vehicle, please wait. And there's what the vehicle is seeing. And it says, writing sensor ID to ECU. I'm going to close the door here so we can see if there's anything else going on. Okay, successful. Please proceed with the following steps until the OBDII relearn is done. Yes. Need to hit the start again. Okay, reading. Okay, OBDII relearn is successful. Hit OK. There we go. Now it tells us that it's reading all the sensors. Here's what they are, the status. And that's kind of what we saw before. It says that they're all communicating. And I don't see a light on the dash. I'm going to go drive it for a little bit and see if anything happened. So I'm going to exit for now. Switch off, then switch on the ignition. All right, so we got to turn the car off and then go drive it for 10 minutes. All right, guys, as you can see, no tire light on. You can see that there is the warning icy conditions marker there, because it is pretty cold today. It's freezing temperatures, but no snow yet. So I'll recheck the torque after I've driven it a few miles here and on all the lug nuts, and then give the car over to my wife to go do her grocery run. All right, guys, please give us a thumbs up, and I'll put more information in the description below as to what I used and some other suggestions. We need more subscribers, so please do subscribe if you like the content, and I would love to hear from you if you'd like to see anything else. Have a wonderful and blessed day.